Tim here, and we are introing yet another episode of the Automation Loop. And this one we're going to talk about what happened in Nautobot 3.0, some of the things that were of interest to us. So, of course, as always, I'm Tim.
I'm Tim. And today we're going to talk about a couple of new applications that are available in Nautobot 3.0. And I got to tell you, Tim, I'm feeling really bold today. I mean, I might actually buy a cape. Bold and spicy.
Perhaps you're going to fire up those laser cobras at some point. I don't know.
Something like that. But yeah, I'm feeling very bold today. Going to buy a cape. So it's going to be a big day. And we're also going to talk about these two applications that are available with the new Nautobot 3.0 rollout that I'm really excited to talk about. So let's get to it.
Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.
That too.
Hey, Tim, so I know when we were looking at Nautobot 3.0, one of the things that really popped out and we've been getting a lot of questions about from our clients and potential clients is the Ansible Automation app. And to be honest, I was kind of a little bit confused about how it works and what does it do as well. So why don't we go through it with folks here and kind of explain how does it work, how do you use it, and why do you want it?
Yeah, Tim, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go over to my Nautobot instance over here. And on the left-hand side now, there is a new item here if you have this application called Nautobot Ansible Automation. So we can click here and takes us to the page we were on. This is a list of your Ansible controllers. So I have one controller installed right now. That controller corresponds with this Ansible AWX instance over here. And
so to define just real quick here for folks, like what an Ansible controller means, it could be AWX, it could be Ansible Tower, or it could be your Ansible automation platform.
That's right. Any Ansible orchestrator. And you can see here that I have certain playbooks or templates defined in this instance right here. And just take a mental note. There's config backup. There's a few of them here. There's playbook get facts, pb get facts, all of that. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch back over to my Nautobot instance, and I'm going to explore this controller a bit. And what I want to talk about is what's going on here on the right-hand side, this job templates. These are the templates I have imported from my Ansible instance into Nautobot. If I want to import more, I can go to this button up here, Refresh Job Templates. And what this is doing now is this is reading the templates from my AWX instance that are not imported yet, and they are right here. And if I want to import one or all of these, I can go ahead and toggle one or more of them and then import them in. I won't do that right now, but that is the mechanic for how you get additional Ansible templates into your Nautobot instance to be executable.
And for those of you that are maybe trying this at home, following along, what have you, just be careful when you do that import. Don't just hit that all button unless you really want all of them. We do know that there's perhaps a little, we don't know if it's intentional or not, but there is a bit of an issue in there right now that you can't delete them once you bring them here into the Nautobot side. So just bring the things in that you want for now.
Yep, brand new app. So there's a little bit of quirks with it. So what does this do now? Why is this important to me? Because once I have these templates imported from my controller, we can see three right here. I can either run them from here or I can run them from my jobs menu. And so I'm going to run them from my jobs menu just to make the point. The value here is it takes all your Ansible, you can import your Ansible templates and run them as jobs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my job group for my demo AWX instance, and here is this playbook get facts. If I run this now, I'm going to run it.
So yeah, if you think about this in your work environment, right, this is really cool because now I can have my help desk or whatever it is, right? They just go into one place to do a thing. They no longer have to go to multiple screens to do things. So really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, and the value here is just the lack of a context switch. I can stay in my Nautobot instance now, and I'm going to go ahead and get facts from this Jersey City Spine 2 device, and I'm going to run the job now. So I am running an Ansible playbook as a job in Nautobot. And while this is going, this takes a moment, but let's go over to our AWX controller while that's running. And I'm going to go to my jobs. What is currently happening or happened in Ansible playbook? And it looks like it ran already. So we have this playbook get facts. It just ran at 32 minutes past the hour. So this should be done over here. And it is. It ran at 32 past the hour. And this ran, so who cares? If I want to get the output from this, besides what displayed here in the job, I can, for example, download the standardout.html file. And if I go ahead and access that file.
Yeah, so again, you don't have to leave the Nautobot interface to see like the results of your, your output from the Ansible playbook or template. So really powerful tool, I think. And
yeah, and so this is the getFax. This is the HTML version of the getFax, and the text version is just a text version of the same thing. But this is exactly what came from the controller. This is the exact output from the playbook, just now accessible through Nautobot or through an HTML or text file. Again, the value here is if I'm a heavy Ansible user, I can pull the playbooks into my Nautobot instance and run them as jobs, make them more accessible perhaps to other people, because now those other people don't have to context switch. And then with the usual permissions that come with Nautobot, you can allow users access to specific jobs in the stable here as well. So that is a quick overview. That's the nickel tour of the Ansible Automation app. And this is covered a little bit in this blog written by Christian Serbu on, it's from December 18th. But I encourage you to take a look at the blog if you have any questions about this. And Tim, another feature I'm really excited about to see in, I believe it's in beta in Nautobot 3.0, is this version control application. And this is covered a bit, again, in this blog by Christian Serbu from December 18th. I encourage everyone to read it if they're interested in this. What this app does is it allows you to manage your data like you manage your code. That is to say, with pipelines. I, as a user, can go ahead and if I want to make a change to my code in Nautobot, I can create a clone of the main branch, propose my changes, and submit those changes back in a pull request style for approval and comment by other people. I've seen a lot of customers, I've heard a lot of customers ask for this feature, and I'm really excited to see it make its first appearance.
Now, under the hood, this is really interesting technology because it is using real version control database. So we're not just like making a whole copy of the database and, doing things on that copy and then trying to somehow smoosh that back into the main one. No, this is actually really a version control database. So super interesting how this is working using the adult database under the hood to actually implement this technology. From a tech perspective, kind of amazing. I also think from a DevOps and a Net DevOps perspective, it's absolutely critical to that journey. If you truly want to have an absolutely Net DevOps experience, you have to be able to version control everything you do, which in our case, because Net DevOps is really a unique subset of DevOps, you must be able to version control your data in order to truly do Net DevOps. There's just no way around it because of the amount of data that we need to maintain is so massive compared to, say, everybody else. So that's, its own story. Where I struggle with this concept, though, is in practice for most organizations, I feel like this is going to be really hard to implement in the real world. It's going to be just difficult. Like I have to go create a branch just because I want to load in some data. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this one for most organizations today. And Tim, I'm curious. I know you don't agree with me, so I think this will be fun.
I do agree with you. There is a big cultural component to this. If it is your culture, if you have a rich DevOps culture, this will fold right in. You can just fold in your data, managing your data totally like your code. I do agree though, Tim. This is not for probably 90-95% of the potential target market out there. It's probably not applicable yet. But as DevOps, we talked about DevOps in our Gartner a webinar a couple months ago. As DevOps, Net DevOps becomes more common in the enterprise. I think this version control capability is also going to fold right into that really nicely.
Yeah. And I do see a case for, maybe in organizations that are newer to the DevOps concepts, or just the paradigm shift that's required when you move over to DevOps, is maybe you only version control certain things, maybe things that are really critical to your infrastructure. Maybe you just version control your NTP servers or something like that, right? Where you really want to have a lot of structure around those particular concepts, and then you would say that. But that might be an approach where you could say, hey, these things we version control and these things we don't. Now, that's not to say you can have both databases running at the same time. By the way, you cannot. You make a choice. You're either going the version control database or not. But just because you have the version control database doesn't mean that you have to use its function, right? So, for example, there are certain things you might permit that you say, hey, these can just be smashed into the main branch. These things you have to create a branch and go through the whole proper peer review and merging and all of that stuff, right? So you would just have to do that in practice, how you might implement that.
Yeah, this is right now, it is released as early access.
Early access, yeah. So
for Nautobot Cloud customers. Yeah. So it is not fully, it doesn't look like we're at the, 1.0 version yet. It looks like we're in kind of the beta stage. Kick the tires. We want feedback on this. But the fact that this is making an appearance, that we have the technology now on the database side to enable this, I think is really exciting. And I've had some very sophisticated enterprises ask for this. So where the culture supports it, I think this is going to be fold right in and be a good addition to their capabilities.
And I think if you were wondering as an organization, hey, am I a Net DevOps org? If you were asking yourself that question, I don't know why you would, but maybe you would. Let's say you asked yourself that question. The answer to that question is, are you interested in using Nautobot version control? If the answer to that is no, then you are not a Net DevOps org, because you have to be at the point where you're ready to use Nautobot version controlling to truly be a Net DevOps organization. Now, you might be on the path to becoming, but you have not arrived if you do not need and require the use of this tool. So I think that's kind of a good way to see, judge yourself. Like, where am I in this journey? Where am I in this path?
Yep. But when you get there, this will be here, ready to help you roll on with that Net DevOps journey.
Because it is literally impossible to complete the Net DevOps journey any other way. Well, I suppose you could go the route of hey, we use YAML files to define everything, and we put those in GitHub, in GitHub, and then we version control them that way. But I cannot imagine operating an environment at scale using YAML files. That would be crazy.
Yeah, at scale.
There's no other way to version control data short of something like Nautobot version control app. So yeah, it's enabling us to do a thing that we need to do, but not all of us are going to be ready for it, I think.
For sure. Folks, that is a wrap on this month's episode of the Automation Loop. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Tim.
And of course, I'm Tim. Looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And as always, stay curious.